Alright, here we go. I'm doing this. I'm doing it now. I'm going to record. Okay. Welcome back to the Wrestling Corner. I am Scotty. You are not. I don't think I've ever done a walk-on intro for a Wrestling Corner review. Usually they're in a corner, you know. Anyway, it's time to continue my ongoing series on the draft. And we are in the 2008 draft held in San Antonio, Texas. In, I want to say April or May. And we're on the road, maybe it's even June at this point, because we're on the road to Night of Champions, which is this Sunday from when this show is live from. And I have an opinion that maybe they should have waited till after the pay-per-view to do this. I mean, I know they had some other decisions to make, sure. See what happens. I'll discuss some of the stuff that happens at the pay-per-view, but some of the draft picks go on to do stuff, I understand, but they made certain things very obvious at certain points. But yeah, so we are live from San Antonio, Texas. We are greeted by the announced teams of Raw, SmackDown, ECW. For Monday Night Raw, of course, we have Jerry the King Lawler and good old JR Jim Ross. For SmackDown, we have Michael Cole and Mick Foley, which is a head scratcher of a thought that he was on an announced team. And for ECW, we have Taz and Mike Adam Lee. Yeah, Mike Adam Lee sucked. And WWE, he's just sucked. He even mispronounces some words and names here. But yeah, there will be draft picks. Much like the previous year, we will have one superstar from one brand versus another superstar from another brand that have a match. Whoever wins that match will get a draft pick for that brand. And so we start off with Triple H, the WWE champion representing Monday Night Raw, versus Mark Henry, the world's strongest man representing SmackDown. This match went longer than I thought it would. I thought it was shorter than this, but no, it went pretty quick. And Triple H wins, because of course he does. He's a WWE champion. He's going to win. And the first draft pick of the overall draft, coming on Night Raw, which was kind of a shock at the time because, you know, it's Rey Mysterio. And so Rey Mysterio was synonymous with SmackDown. There are some superstars, when I think of SmackDown, or when I think of them, I think of SmackDown. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Undertaker. Those are the three I think of them. I think SmackDown. They were synonymous. Eddie Guerrero, and probably because of his passing, never left SmackDown after being drafted there, or jumping over there in 2002, I should say. So, yeah, I could very much see that he would jump over. I would think in 2007, if he was still alive, he would probably jump over to Raw. You know, because 2005 he had his own thing going. You know, he had his thing with Mysterio. I could see it. Maybe even going over to ECW at some point. I could see it. You know, but when I think of SmackDown, tell me three superstars that when you think of SmackDown, you think of them, you think SmackDown. Rey Mysterio, Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero. So, yeah, Rey Mysterio coming over to Raw was a big deal. We also get an announcement of $1 Million Mania at the top of the show. What it is Vince McMahon's going to come out. He's going to give away $1 million of his own money in increments. In increments, we find out. So we start with the first $1 Million Mania. Vince McMahon comes out and he introduces Kelly. And so Vince McMahon lays down the rules. He says that 5 people will get $100,000. And one lucky person is going to get $500,000, which if you don't know is $500,000. So, yeah. And so he and Kelly, they were doing this for a few weeks, but I guess they still hadn't gotten it down. This is the last week they do it for a number of reasons. So apparently they still haven't got it down because what you have to do is you have to sign up for WWE.com or something. They call you If your phone number, you give them the password. The password for the night is Night of Champions because that's what the pay-per-view was going to be. So, Night of Champions is the password. So he calls this number. They answer. He says, "It's a man," and they're like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! You have the password." And he says, "Night of Champions." And Vince McMahon says, "Oh, I can't believe this. You're wrong. That's not it." You got Jerry Lawler in commentary going, "Wait, Vince, he's right, he's right." And then Kelly had to whisper to him, "Actually, he's right." "Oh, well, Kelly is telling me you're right. You win $100,000. Like, great start. This is just a great start to this. Yeah. We cut to the back, and Triple H is welcoming Rey Mysterio to Raw. Cena comes in, and he shakes his hand, Rey's hand, respect there, and then he talks Triple H, and they have a conversation. And like the cadence of which John Cena talks, "Last week, I came out to help you, and then, next thing I know, I'm getting a pedigree from you," or something like that. It's almost like the Hurricane. "What's up with that?" I was waiting for that. "What's up with that?" But, yeah, the conversation, basically, I'm going to win the title from you. Triple H said, "I'm going to retain the title." And, yeah, out of all of the championship matches, this is the one that I could have gone either way with, because it's like, especially what happens at the end, you think, I'm just saying, I'll talk about it when we get to all the draft picks are done, but, Next, we have Hornswoggle and Finley, which I assure you was an actual tag team, versus Santino and Carlito, which I assure you was an actual tag team. Yeah, I always forget about Santino and Carlito. They were sort of tag team. Short-lived because stuff that happened. Anyway, Hornswoggle and Finley are the number one contenders for the WWE Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by The Miz and John Morrison, who are in ECW. ECW and SmackDown had a working relationship, so ECW superstars could jump over to SmackDown and vice versa, although everybody was going to ECW because they needed to book it so that there was a lot of talent there for. But anyway, the first year of ECW, you had a lot of Edges on Raw. Edges on ECW. Here comes The Undertaker. And here comes DX. You're just trying to get people to watch ECW. But anyway. Hornswoggle and Finley win. And the draft pick is, obviously, it's the Great Khali. No, it's Jeff Hardy coming out to No More Words, which, I'm sorry, hate me for this, I've never cared for. Everybody was saying, "When did he come back? When did he come back? When did he come back?" Well, he got it back, and then he was fired. I never cared for that. I always liked the Hardy Boys. I always liked that one. And his TNA theme. Modest to the top. Modest at the top. I like that one, too. There's other ones he did, but that's... So Jeff Hardy's going to SmackDown. Yay. Ow. And then we go to commercial with Randy Orton walking down a hallway. I'm back for $1 Million Mania Part 2. And Vince McMahon comes out and he welcomes Randy Orton. Randy Orton doesn't care about $1 Million Mania. He says, "I don't care about this. I don't want to give out $1 million right now. I just want to give a warning to either Triple H or John Cena that no, it doesn't matter who the WWE champion is. When I come back," by the way, he's got a collarbone injury, but his arm is in a sling. I guess I don't know how collarbone injuries work. Why is his arm in a sling if he's got a collarbone? I don't know. Guess I don't know how it works. I never injured my collarbone, so I don't know how that works. I've known people who've injured my collarbone, and he also has his arm in a sling, and I still don't understand it. But I guess I could have asked him. But then we were in like elementary school. He was a dirt bike dude, I think. But anyway, elementary, middle school, whatever, one of the two. So yeah, then I'm messed up. So Randy Orton basically says that and walks off. So Vince McMahon does the thing, and there you go. Is that the... No. So next we have Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes which I assure you was a tag team, versus ECW's Chavo Guerrero and Bam Neely, which I assure you was a tag team. Bam Neely was like a bodyguard, but they were in ECW. This was pre La Familia, actually. Ooh, a Chavo. Bam, bam, bam. Anyway, at ringside next to Jerry the King Lawler is a criminal. No, it's Ted DiBiase Jr., and he's got a book about his father, and he's talking about how he and his surprise partner, who is totally not Cody Rhodes, are going to win the tag titles from Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. Spoiler alert, it was Cody Rhodes. It's like, they could have booked this better, I guess. Mystery tag team partner, Cody's going to turn on. Oh, okay. But, so Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes win, and Raw gets a draft pick, and it's a CM Punk. Go to sleep. It's CM Punk, and he's going to Monday Night Raw, and he is Mr. Money in the Bank. Gotta remember that. We'll talk about him post this draft towards the end here. But yes, and then we see another go-to commercial thing. Chris Jericho's on his way to the ring. So he comes out, and this was the start of his rivalry with Shawn Michaels, which led to the kicking of Shawn Michaels' wife in the head and eyeballs getting gouged out, sort of getting thrown to the Jeritron. But this was beginning of it. Chris Jericho was the special guest referee in Shawn Michaels' match with Batista at Backlash. I think it was Backlash. And I think Backlash or Judgment Day. Was there a Judgment Day in 2008? Was there? I was thinking Edge with the Scales, right? Was there? This is June. Backlash was in April. Maybe it was, I don't know, one of them. He was supposed to be the guest referee. And during the match, Shawn Michaels feigned an injury to his leg and then super kicked Batista during the distraction and won the match. And so now Chris Jericho is on this whole kick of Shawn Michaels is a bad partner and turns on everyone. And he didn't really turn on Batista. It was just a thing during the match. But he shows how he turned on Mike Jannetty and kicked him through the barbershop window. He showed how he turned on Hulk Hogan and he turned on John Cena. And it's like, yeah, but those were like, this whole thing with Mike Jannetty was that was, he's going solo. Going solo. And then the whole thing, like, that one I get. I can get that, turning on your partner. But, like, Hulk Hogan, that one I can get to. The John Cena one, though, so half of them I can get. Those two I can get. Because he's bringing out Hulk Hogan to be his partner, and he turned on him. And then that all went down the toilet because Hogan refused to do the job, brother. And then you had the John Cena thing. They were in the middle of a rivalry on the road to WrestleMania. That was bound to happen. And likewise with Batista, that was during a match. He wasn't his partner. It just happened. But, and so then Shawn Michaels comes out and they have a brawl and he throws Shawn Michaels into the corner of the announce table, or supposedly into the corner of the announce table, and that starts the eye thing, which we would also throw him into the Jeritron, working in his eye, and it would lead to he would come out of the Great American Bash, and I think it was Great American Bash where he would say, I'm going to retire, but that would lead to an unsanctioned match at SummerSlam, because then the wife would get kicked in the face. But yeah, as we have The Miz and Morrison, the WWE Tag Team Champions from ECW, versus, well, what's supposed to be Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Now, does anyone see a problem with this before things changed? Yeah, it's heel versus heel. Well, then Vicky Guerrero comes out in a wheelchair because she always came out in a wheelchair for some reason. Because even if she got out of the wheelchair, she'd get hit or something and get back in a wheelchair. I don't know. And says, well, excuse me. And she says, certain events caused me to change this. So out come the Hardy Boys. Yes. Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy coming out to the ring because things were going to happen. So we had to at least have them come back together for one night. So the Hardy Boys versus Miz and Morrison. And because ECW has to get the draft pick, Miz and Morrison win. I forgot to mention that during the first $1 Million Mania, Vince McMahon he announces the match of John Cena versus Edge later on tonight. I forgot to mention that. But anyway, so ECW gets a draft pick, and it's Matt Hardy. Yeah. So and he's a U.S. champion, by the way. So he's going there. So and then next we have $1 Million Mania and part 3. And out comes Vince McMahon, and he says, I'm bringing out someone help me here. Nature Boy Ric Flair, who was retired at this point, but he comes out. Woo! Comes out, and he calls the person. They say the Night of Champions. They get the $100,000. And before you go, Rick, you have one thing to say. It's one word, one quick word. And woo! And then we're off to the next segment. Clearly, the Vince McMahon impressions are ruining my throat. But I'll get it in. Damn it. Anyway, next we have... Okay. So I forgot to mention this at the top of the thing. But for like the last couple weeks or so since the draft is announced, Mick Foley has been going on about how by the end of the draft, he would love to be calling commentary with good old JR. So that made it painfully obvious that that didn't make it obvious enough. Now we have a special announcers only draft match. And it is Divas tag team matches. Mickie James and Melina versus Natalya, yeah baby, and Victoria. Yeah, Natalya with the red hair, by the way. And it became a double disqualifications. And because of a double disqualification, they say both brands get a draft pick, which makes no sense. It's a double disqualification. Neither one wins. Neither team wins. Therefore, nobody should get a draft pick. If they wanted to do it right, it should have been a double pin. Like maybe it's a tornado tag team match, and Mickie James pins Natalya and Victoria pins Melina or whatever. And it's a double, the referee counts, and it's a double pinfall. Therefore, both teams win. Double count out makes no sense to them to have, they both get draft picks. But they both lost, so neither of them won the draft pick. Okay. And they don't even do the draft video in front of it. Just boom! JR's going to SmackDown, which he's visibly pissed because, I don't think it was scripted. I forgot to watch that video. I don't think it was at all. And then Michael Cole's going to Raw, and he says, I called every SmackDown show but 2. Every SmackDown show but 2 in almost 10 years. And now he's going to Raw. Mick Foley got his wish. There you go. Next is more $1 Million Mania with the Great Khali. And this one's funny as hell. Because he brings the Great Khali out, and he's like, oh, Great Khali, why don't you, he's the star of the movie Get Smart. He's not the star, he's like a henchman. Anyway, why don't you tell us about Get Smart? So Great Khali gets on the microphone, and I apologize to all Punjabis and Indian people, but he gets on the microphone and he goes, Get Smart, blah, 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 blah. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm sorry. Okay, let's call and get him. So he calls this person. He's like, hello, who's this? And the person goes, wrong number, and hangs up on him. And you go, oh, what? Now, I don't know if this was 100% true. They were actually calling people, and they were actually getting this money, or if they were people that were just set up. And Vince actually called the wrong number, not the one he was supposed to call, and they just tell him, hey, wrong number. Because it comes out very quick. It's like, who's this? He's like, wrong number. Like, he doesn't ask, who is this? When he gets the wrong number, who is this? Who's this? This is Vince McMahon, And then all of a sudden, you signed up for this thing, and you got a voice going, who's this? Obviously. I don't know, but Yeah. So after that, Greg Khali starts yelling into the speaker saying, "Ah, blah, 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 ah, blah, blah, ah, blah, 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 blah." Oh, I forgot to also mention when they introduced the Great Khali and talks about, after the whole blah, 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 whatever he talked about, Get Smart. He's, well, Get Smart. Also in Get Smart is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, or as The Rock, and they show off the most electrifying mass sports entertainment DVD set. So he calls another number, and they do the thing. Night champions, they get to give the 100,000. Okay. Next is John Cena versus Edge, which I swear was also on the last draft show. That also had a screwy finish. And here, Edge loses by count out. Yeah. And then Batista comes out, who is in a feud with Edge for the world title at Champions. And, attacks him, and then Edge runs off. The next draft pick comes out running at Raw. It's Batista. Yes, Edge's like, oh, bye-bye. And then we go to commercial, we come back, and Mr. McMahon walks into the office where Vicky Guerrero and Edge are because they're engaged, don't you know? He's like, oh, I just wanted to tell you that even though Batista is on Raw now, you would still be going for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I also would like to say how unfortunate it would be if Edge, your fiance, was drafted to a different brand here tonight. Something like that. And, yeah. Next, we have, now we're just going draft pick, because MVP versus Tommy Dreamer. SmackDown versus ECW. By the way, you may notice that compared to last year, ECW gets the shaft. They tried to even it out last year, but here they only do that with Raw and SmackDown. By the end of the night, Raw has 5, SmackDown has 5. And ECW gets 1 on-air draft pick. So they already got their 1. It's Matt Hardy. That's it. They get some supplemental draft stuff, but it's not really important. MVP versus Tommy Dreamer. MVP wins and gets a draft pick for SmackDown, and it is Umaga. It's Umaga. Yes. And next we have JBL versus Kofi Kingston from ECW. JBL from Raw, of course. Kofi Kingston from ECW. JBL wins with a badass clothesline from hell, and it's Kane, who is the ECW champion. So he was losing his match, which was a triple threat match between him, Big Show, and Mark Henry. So he's losing that to someone. Definitely not going to bring it with him. Oh, he's bringing it to Raw. No, he's not. And then we have $1 Million Mania Part 4. And this one, we have... this is the one where they do the phone call. There's no one out with him. And the person who answers the phone is actually in the arena. And they show her and she waves. And again, this feels like it could be, set up. Like, oh, you got to show at least someone. What if someone was in the arena? But I don't know. There's echo and everything. And yeah. So then we have a tri-branded battle royal. 15-man. So 5 for each brand. Representing SmackDown, MVP, Big Show, The Great Khali, Edge, and Jeff Hardy. Representing Raw, Kane, Triple H, CM Punk, Batista, and John Cena. That's a stacked team. And ECW gets The Miz, John Morrison, Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, and Chavo Guerrero. ECW does not win this battle royal. Just anyone hoping? Actually, SmackDown wins. Strangely enough, it comes down to Edge versus John Cena and Triple H, and they both get thrown over the top. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's for 2 draft picks. So, going to SmackDown, first draft pick, Mr. Kennedy. That is Kennedy going to SmackDown after being on Raw, not doing anything. I think he was injured, and the other draft pick is Triple H, which Triple H is very confused, and John Cena is also, oh, what? But before we talk about the post-draft shenanigans, we have one last $1 Million Mania. It's the $500,000, one, the $500,000. He gets up there, he makes the phone call. He says, oh, you won $500,000. And then, in a shot that you could see coming before they frame it, Mr. Man is not centered. He's to the side now, and they frame the entranceway. So either someone's going to come out or something's going to happen. A light falls onto the thing. Huh? And then the floor underneath Mr. McMahon gives way. He falls down. And then he gets back up, and Mr. McMahon's like, keep in mind, they're still superstars by the ring after the Battle Royal. At least Edge, Triple H, and John Cena are there. We know, we find out later. And they're standing there, And then the sign, the big McMahon, Vince McMahon's picture on a dollar bill sign falls on him, but it's very much he falls back into the hole as it falls down. It doesn't actually hit him. But they were selling this like it was real, like it wasn't meant to happen. Like this was, this was shoot. It wasn't. It was a work, brother. But because you got John Cena, Edge, and Triple H running out there to help, trying to pick it up, but they can't. Triple H is going, you got to put it back down. It might break. We don't know. You got to put it back down. But when they're lifting it up, John Cena is doing his thing that he likes to do when stuff is heavy, really trying to sell it here. It was probably heavy, but not as heavy as they would have you believe. And they're showing the camera going down the little cubbyhole thing to see Vince McMahon laying there. And to make it more realistic, Vince is yelling for Triple H, but he's not saying Triple H, not saying Hunter. He's yelling out, Paul, 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 to make it more realistic. Oh, that's Triple H's real name. Oh, it could be true. This is real. And it ends with them taking him out on a stretcher. 2 years in a row, the end of a draft show has Vince McMahon, something bad happened to Vince McMahon. He blew up the last year. 'Tis but a scratch. And now this. Just a flesh wound. But the post-draft shenanigans. Monday Night Raw got Jamie Noble. Don't remember what he did. Deuce, who became Sam Snuka. You may know him from XWF as Jimmy Snuka Jr. brother. Chuck Palumbo, who did nothing before being released. Matt Striker, Layla, and Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston we'll talk about in a second. SmackDown got Trevor Murdoch and Big Daddy V, both who did nothing before getting released. D.H. Smith, who ended up going back to FCW and ended up becoming part of the Hart Foundation, who would start on ECW, I think. Brian Kendrick, who becomes the Brian Kendrick. I'm a man with a plan. Mama Maria, and Chef Benjamin, who would go on to win the United States Championship. And Carlito. I forgot about Carlito. And ECW would get Mark Henry, who would go on to become ECW champion. Hornswoggle, Finley, and Super Crazy. El Grande Loco. And Kofi Kingston would win the Intercontinental Championship. It would be Jericho would come out and he would say, we're going to give him a surprise opponent, and it's Kofi Kingston, and he wins. Batista would lose his match against Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship, and John Cena would lose his match for the WWE Championship, which is confusing. Be like, well, now both titles are on SmackDown. We're gonna have CM Punk cash in the next night on Raw when Edge is there, and like JR goes to say goodbye, and Edge comes out and basically yells at JR, and is like, you know what? They're not gonna see JR, and they're not gonna see the World Heavyweight title on Raw ever again. And then Batista comes out and attacks him, and then CM Punk cashes in. Because it makes too much sense for Batista to win the world title and John Cena to win. No, wait. It makes too much sense for John Cena to just win the WWE Championship. Clearly, they wanted the WWE title on SmackDown. Cool. And yes, I'm looking at this from a after the fact sort of situation. What they did to CM Punk, they only had CM Punk cash in on Edge to get that title off of him. Because he defends it a couple times. Against JBL, against Batista. I think it's Batista, Great American Bash, and JBL at SummerSlam. I think. And then, before he could defend it in a scramble match, which would have been cool, he's attacked by Randy Orton, taken out for months, and Jericho wins the world title. Why they had Jericho win the title, I don't know, but there it is. And, but they couldn't just give him the title to Batista? I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, Matt Hardy going to ECW with the United States title didn't last long. He would lose the title on an episode of SmackDown, mind you, to Shelton Benjamin. Yeah, that was that. But yeah, this may be one of the better, if not the best draft. I know people will point out 2002, 2004, but this is the one I remember the most. I had it. This is one of the ones I recorded at my grandma's. I got the VHS tape back. I was living here. I put it in. I didn't have cable yet. So I was living here, didn't have cable yet. Put it in. My friend Tim was here. We watched it. I remember vividly the Edge section where he's doing that, and my friend goes, oh, "Bye bye, bye bye." You know, he was laughing along. He wasn't really a big wrestling fan. He liked playing the wrestling video games, and he would watch it with me if he was here and I was watching something. Strangely enough, he liked the matches with the blood. I don't know. He didn't like horror movies, but the matches with the blood he kind of liked. You know, but there it is, the draft, 2008. Before I go, quick announcement. Bet you're wondering, Scotty, are you going to talk about any WrestleManias this year besides the one that's coming up? The answer is yes. I'm actually going to be talking about 2 past WrestleManias because I'm going to be covering the highs of WrestleMania 31 and the lows of WrestleMania 32. I was trying to decide which one I want to do, which one I was wanting to do. And I thought, you know what? Screw it. I'll do both. And what I'm going to wait till I have a day off, maybe this Saturday. And I want to watch 31 and do my review. And then right after, watch this one and do my review. Because a comparison is needed. Do it one after the other. That's what you do. So, yeah, look forward to those. They won't be up the same day. I'll have that one on the day that I do them. I'll upload that one, and then I will upload the other one the next day or so. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on the draft from 2008? Let me comment, so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.